All right, so for this video, I wanted to talk about the first problem. It's number 1 on one of the pieces of one of the pages I sent home and we worked on in class a little bit. And I told the kids that it's missing some information because when I went to print this one, there was like a half a page recipe for cupcakes, and it was talking about how there's 1/3 a cup of sugar and 1.5 cups of this and 3/4 a cup. It had a bunch of fractions in it. They use that recipe for a lot of different problem types. Some of it's, to test whether you can multiply fractions, add fractions with different denominators. Some of it's to test, like, if I had to buy frosting for all these cupcakes and I needed 3 tablespoons of frosting for each, things like that. There's a lot of different problem types. And so I saw that recipe and I'm like, none of that's necessary. I don't need to know that there's any fractions involved. We're done with that. And then I realized it didn't say in the actual problem that there are 48 mini cupcakes. So that part is missing. Yeah. So we're going to talk about, it's an area problem is what it ends up being. It gives you a couple of pieces of information. It should tell you that there's 48 mini cupcakes he's making, or she's making. I don't know the guy's name. I don't remember if it's a girl or a boy. This person's making cupcakes, and each cupcake is 1.5 inches in diameter. And they want to know what they're all flat circular, so there's all circles on top of them. And he wants to know how much the total area is because he wants to buy frosting or something. And they want, at the very end, it says something about how they want the answer as a whole number of square inches. And because there's so much that it's asking you for, there's about 4 big steps to do in this problem. So like I try to tell the kids, let's break it down to what we know. What we know, first of all, is a diameter. It equals 1.5 inches. And we know it's the diameter because it says the word diameter in the problem. We don't have to think about a picture or anything like that. We know that we have 48 cupcakes. We know that pi is going to be 3.14. We know that we need the area, so we're going to use the area equation. And we know in the end that we're going to need the total area as a whole number. I call it whole hashtag, and the kids roll their eyes at me so much. So just like the other area type problems, we know that if we're given a diameter, but we need to do something with the area, we got to change the diameter to radius. So the diameter I've got is 1.5 inches. So the first thing I need to do in my work is to get that diameter and divide it by 2. And that'll tell me that's in inches. I'm going to try to follow the units. Divide by 2 and I get 0.75 inches. It's 3/4 of an inch. That's my radius. Great. I'm going to go use that in the area. This is the radius of 1 cupcake, so I'll be finding the area of 1 cupcake. Area equals pi times r squared, so that's 3.14 approximately times 0.75 inches times 0.75 inches. And I did this problem several times on the board, so I know that works out to 1.76625 square inches for any given little cupcake. Okay, I know that's 1 cupcake. I know he's making 48 cupcakes. So I've got to take the information I know and multiply by 48. And that gives me 84.78 square inches. All right, The last thing, and this is something that sometimes you got to go back and read the problem, particularly if there is a blank to fill in. If it's multiple choice and you go through and there's like A, B, C, D, and one of your answers is 85, then you're that's close enough. I would pick that answer. But here it says round to the nearest whole number, so I've got to round it. And I look at what's the whole number would be this space right here. That's a unit space. And I look right after that and I say, okay, 0.7. That's more than a 5, and it's more than 0.5, so I'm going to round it up. So that's about 85 square inches. Now this problem type, it's got a lot of work. It's got, like I said, about 4 steps. Your first step is once you recognize you're going to need the radius, you got to get the radius. If it doesn't give you a radius, you got to get the radius. The second step is use your formula to find your area. Third step is you realize, that's just 1. I got 48 of them, so I've got to multiply it. And then your fourth step is, how do they want the answer? Do I need to do anything special with it? And you did. You had to round it up to the nearest whole number. Or down. Round it to the nearest whole number. And that's it. It's a lot of stuff to do. I wish it hadn't been number 1, because I think a lot of people got intimidated by that, when a lot of the other problems are a lot shorter to work.